He looks like he owns credit. Oh my gosh. Man like Arthur from Batman.
Namaste, dzień dobry, assalamu alaikum, ciao, konnichiwa, bonjour, hola, good morning, good morning, good morning. It's Friday. We love a Friday here at JA. It's the best day of the week. Why is it the best day of the week? Well, a number of reasons, really. Number one, the expectation of the weekend. Love that. Always have done. Number two, used to be payday for a lot of people, didn't it, Friday? And I think that's the other thing that makes it feel, like, yes, the week's over. Now it's time for fun. And finally, of course, for us as agents, it's the day when we try and get everybody out viewing in a tough market. It's a lot tougher. As you know from yesterday's announcement, interest rates have gone up. The base rate is now 5%. And it's tough times for a lot of people. I was just looking at the standard variable rate of Halifax, and it's a shocker. It really is. What's interesting is that banks and building societies are meeting with the Chancellor, Jeremy Hunt, to discuss the mortgage market today. And my expectation is that there will be some sort of support and help in there. How helpful it is, I don't know yet, but there are a couple of things that I think that the banks and building societies are doing that seems to me very out of order. Number one is the gap between the base rate and the rate they're charging is massive. In the case of the Halifax, I think it's 3.5% above base. How's that fair on a standard variable rate? That doesn't seem right. So I think the government should be putting pressure on the direction of those margins because they seem excessive. And then number two, obviously, to allow borrowers to go to interest-only payments in such difficult times would be really helpful. But also, those interest-only payments, if they have to do that, should be at the rate that they're already on. So if they've got a fixed rate, for instance, and they're currently on repayment, they should be able to revert on the same fixed rate to an interest only, because the problem is all very well saying, oh yeah, they can do just the interest only. But the reality is that for many, that interest only, if it's at the standard variable rate, will be double, treble, or quadruple what they're already paying. So it's not an option. They're kind of tied in. So it's really important that they express in that way how this could work. And I think, really it's the time for the government to step in and act now. And it'd be interesting to see what they can do. Obviously, they're not going to give any incentives or relief directly to mortgage holders. That's not going to happen because that would be inflationary. And the whole point of this is to bring down inflation. We know that. But I do think that we should be putting measures in place to help those that can't afford and to have a moratorium on repossessions and hold off repossessions for a couple of years while people get a chance to collect themselves and get things back together, because the expectation is that rates will fall again at some point. But I think we may have some more pain to come, maybe another half or 1 point. We may be at the pinnacle now. We don't really know. It's the inflation numbers that are dictating to the Bank of England what to do. And of course, the Bank of England being independent of government, they don't have to listen to the government. But today's meeting with the banks and building societies, that for me is quite critical for so many people in the UK that are struggling right now. So hopefully that will go well. Apart from that, thank you to all those of you that have chosen us to value your homes. We had a really busy week on valuations, and we love giving advice. I know it's not always what people want to hear, but one thing you'll hear at James Alexander is the truth. Sometimes that means that the valuations are not as high as people's expectations. Sometimes it means they're higher, but it always means that they're as honest as we can possibly be, because the last thing we want to do is be misleading in terms of value, because people, this is the problem with a lot of big agents. They come along, they give these high valuations, they can't fulfill, and then the vendors are frustrated, and worse than that, they're stuck with them for these ridiculous contract lengths of 20 weeks or more, which is completely unreasonable in my view. And it should be, actually, I don't think it should be legal to hold someone for that length of time based on your original valuation. If you can't sell a property within 8 weeks of taking it on, then actually your vendor should be free to go anywhere else anyway, in my view, because it's just not fair to hold people past that point. Apart from that, the weather here in Norbury is kind of nice, actually. It's bright and sunny, not as hot as it has been, but certainly warm enough. I understand we're in for a bit of a mixed weekend. But if you're thinking of selling, not sure what you should be doing right now, is it the right time? Is it not? Always give us a call. But a lot of probate valuations sadly coming in. It still seems that we're the overhang from COVID, I think, partly. But a lot around December. It's really strange how December 22 was a really sad time. Lots and lots of people passed away around that time. And so lots of probate valuations coming in. And of course, we always say that in a tougher market, the 3Ds are what come in: death, debt, and divorce. They're the ways that a lot of instructions, a lot of houses come to market. And so, sadly, that is true and likely to be truer than ever now with rates as they are. Although I don't expect that we're in for a big market crash because of repossessions, because people do still have equity. I suspect we'll be talking about a deal with the banks and building societies, which will ease the pressure a bit. Not totally, but I certainly hope that the government can come out with something to help a lot of people. Because, you know, it doesn't only affect people with mortgages. Those landlords with mortgages will then have to pass those costs on to their tenants, which is much higher rents are coming along because of this. And landlords are saying, well, how else can I do it? I can't be going backwards. I can't be paying out of my own pocket for this property. And tenants are saying, well, how am I going to meet these payments? So it's really tough times out there. Hopefully it will ease. There's always a light at the end of the tunnel. This tunnel just seems to be very long at the moment, doesn't it? So thanks for watching as always. Have a fantastic weekend. If you need any property advice, either on lettings or sales, we've got your back. Give us a call, 0208 679 8601, or drop me an email, ken@jamesalexander.com. Have a fantastic weekend, and I will speak to you again on Monday. Ciao.
He looks like he owns Craig.